¿Qué tan mojigatos somos cuando tenemos que hablar del placer sexual? ¿Y qué tal si les contáramos que existe una organización que hace educación sexual teniendo el placer como eje central? De hecho, esa organización tiene 7 principios para disfrutar placenteramente del sexo sin olvidarnos del lado seguro. Resulta que hace 20 años, cuando la salubrista Annie Philpott acudía a congresos de VIH y SIDA, le frustraba mucho el hecho de que en ninguno de estos eventos mencionaran el por qué uno tiene sexo en primer lugar, o sea, el placer. Por eso, Philpott decidió crear el Proyecto del Placer, o The Pleasure Project, una organización que incorpora el lado sexy al sexo seguro.
Nobody was really talking about what people can gain from sex. They were only talking about the negative consequences of sex. There was lots of discussion of death, danger and disease, and basically a lot of stigma around sex and a lot of stigma around pleasure. Often say, when we talk to people about food or we teach them how to cook, we'll say, well, here's the recipe, this is how you can do it to make it great, these are the ingredients, this is how you mix it, this is how you're going to cook it. And just make sure that you're careful when you put it in the oven with the oven gloves. We don't say to them, oh no, if you do this, you're going to cause food poisoning or you're going to get hurt or you're going to get burnt. So we have a very different way of telling people about sex than we do about other everyday things. I started the Pleasure Project to make sure that we are less stigmatizing about the way that we support people to have their ideal relationship and sex lives.
Luego de una investigación rigurosa que tuvo en cuenta los parámetros de la Organización Mundial de la Salud, Philpott nos contó que crearon los 7 parámetros para hablar sobre lo que funciona para tener una salud sexual y reproductiva que hable desde el placer y no solo de las precauciones que se deben tener al vivir una vida sexual activa. Ella nos contó de qué se trata.
It all starts from the need to be positive, so to just flip the narrative for people, to be thinking about what they can gain from their sex lives rather than what they should fear, which we know isn't effective. And then the second one is rights first. So all of pleasure-based sexual health is based on sexual rights, the importance of people having the sex that they want, of consenting and of respect and dignity. But it's also really important to think universal, and that means that everybody has the ability to feel pleasure if they choose to do that, and you need to respect that, but that you need to be flexible, which is the next one. So people know the context they're working in, and you need to think about how to introduce these messages in a whole range of different contexts. But also you need to talk sexy. People respond a lot better if you use words that they use when they talk about sex and, with their partners, to really learn from them how to communicate well. And then lastly, my favorite, although we shouldn't have a favorite, is love yourself, which is important for all of us because almost universally across the world, we've all taken on board some stigma or shame about our sexualities, and that's more extreme for those of us who have identities or orientations that are more marginalized, so queer people, or for example, people with disabilities or women of color. And so it's important to unlearn that stigma before you're able to be a good professional, but also for yourself, to be able to take a journey where you're actually understand that you can celebrate your own choices and your own sexual identity.
Pero ¿cuáles son los retos de que las mujeres cisgénero apliquen estos principios? Esperen, porque Philpott dice que es mucho más complicado que eso.
So as women, we're much more likely to have the experience that we're told we must only say no, or in fact for many women in the world, if they want to make a choice just to have good safe sex, the consequences can be huge. They can be violence, there can be stigma, there can be shame. And that's in the patriarchy. That's very different for people who identify as men or people who identify as women.
Pero antes de que Philpott siga, vayámonos un momento a las cifras. Resulta que durante el mismo año en el que declararon el Día Internacional del Orgasmo Femenino, la Universidad de Piauí en Brasil llevó a cabo un estudio en el que se mostró que solo el 28% de las mujeres de esa región habían experimentado un orgasmo. De hecho, un artículo del New York Times habló de una publicación científica realizada a mediados del 2024 en la que se confirmaba que los hombres de todas las orientaciones sexuales seguían teniendo tasas más elevadas de orgasmos, entre el 70 y el 85% en cada encuentro sexual. Indiscutiblemente las cifras de las mujeres cisgénero heterosexuales son mucho más tristes, con porcentajes del 46 al 58% por cada encuentro sexual, mientras que las lesbianas y bisexuales entre los 35 y 49 años mostraron tasas mucho más superiores.
There's a real pleasure hierarchy in the world where those people who have more privilege, sexual privilege, are more likely to also have more pleasure privilege. And when it comes to patriarchy and sexism, women are less likely to have that. So we have a bit more of a longer journey to go sometimes.
Esto significa que sí existe un mundo en el que podamos desaprender y hablar de manera diferente de la salud sexual y el placer. Lo que dice Philpott es que ambos pueden coexistir e incluso demostrar mucha más efectividad si al hablar de educación sexual comenzamos por el placer y continuamos con las precauciones necesarias que debemos tener para construir encuentros cada vez más seguros.